This episode is proudly sponsored by Indigenous Business Australia, who serves, partners and invests with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who want to own their own future.
Black Magic Woman podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this episode on. We also acknowledge traditional owners of the land where you, the listener or viewer, are tuning in from. We would like to pay our respects to our elders past and present and acknowledge that this always was Aboriginal land and always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast with Mundanara Bayles.
Welcome to another episode of the Black Magic Woman and IBA Partnership Series. My name is Mundanara Bayles, and for the new people who are now listening to this podcast and also our viewers on our YouTube channel, I want to say thank you so much. It's nice to have your company. This is a podcast where we talk to Indigenous Business Australia, which is also known as IBA customers, about their journeys. It could be about home ownership, it could be about business support, or even about investing. So my guest today is Leanne Sanders, and I am going to hand over to you, my sister, and just say thank you very much for jumping on the podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. I'm just such a big fan, and it's a really big privilege. Leanne Sanders. My mum is a Kamilaroi woman, and my dad is Mutti, Tati Tati, Lachi. So we're my dad's side from Robinvale, Balreynolds, Swan Hill, and my mum was born and raised in Jerilderie, just near Finley. And yeah, I grew up in Albury, so I actually haven't lived on country. I've been really blessed to be born and raised on Wiradjuri country. In Albury, and I grew up with a stepfather who's a Wiradjuri man as well, Mick Sanders. And so I'm really lucky I've got two dads, but I didn't actually really get to meet my biological dad until I was in my early 20s, which was a really big journey for me to always want that connection and to see him, but to actually go back to country and see him and meet my mob and, feel really connected to them. So that's been a bit of a journey for myself. But I've got three amazing boys. My eldest boy, Tyson, is 24, and he's a really big part of, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but a really big part of my journey about how I wanted to just create a different future for him than, just some of the things that I experienced as a young child. And I know my parents did their best, but they just didn't have the opportunities that we have. And I'm here in Wagga Wagga on Wiradjuri country, and I do have Wiradjuri ancestors and connections to here, so I really do deeply feel that connection. But everything I do, I'm just so lucky that I have the most amazing elders here. Auntie Cheryl Penrith, Uncle James Ingram, Auntie Mary Atkinson, Auntie Jackie Ingram, Auntie Isabel Reid, Uncle Stan Grant, that just guide me on how to really just grow and be respectful and considerate on everything that I do. Decisions I make with our team is always honouring Wiradjuri country and where we are, and always thinking about our younger people. So I just think in terms of having elders, how privileged we are. So I love the fact that you mentioned it in your opening statement, acknowledging our old people. NAIDOC Week this year, the theme is for our elders, and we celebrate our elders every single day, but not all of us, especially as First Nations peoples, not all of us have had the privilege to grow up in our culture, in an Aboriginal community, or even have the connections to the elders that you have connections to. Like some of those elders are quite, in terms of their profiles, are all, highly respected people who I also want to do a big shout out to Auntie Cheryl Penrith, because she knew my mum and dad
from the Redfern days, from the blocks. A big shout out to you, Art. And also to Auntie Mary Atkinson. I met her at this beautiful dinner at an ADOC ball back in Canberra on Ngunnawal Ngambri country. So, Art, I can't wait to come to Wagga and hopefully have yous on the podcast. So we'll have to lock that in. So
that would be amazing.
Tell me about, in terms of, I ran into you at the Indigenous Business Australia. It was like an alumni program on Larrakia country late last year in Darwin. So I came to Darwin to interview Tanya Nasser and Lacey Long, and in that couple of days I was able to connect with participants in the program, and you were one of them. So tell me, how did you get an invitation to that event, which would probably go back to how did you hear about IBA and how have they supported you?
Yeah, and I really struggle with imposter syndrome too. So, you know, being in Darwin, sitting next to someone like you, just going, oh my gosh, do I even belong here? You know, that just to hear you speak and how you light up that room. But I have a mental health background, so I always knew as a child I wanted to help people and make a difference. Like, it was just, I think it was just in my blood. And I worked in mental health and disability and aged care, and I lost my young cousin to mental health, and just seeing how much that really hurt my auntie and my family, and just how the mental health system is not working for our young people, especially our young Koru men in remote communities. And so working in it, you know, you're only ever band-aiding. And so I just had this moment where I felt like I wanted to create an app with technology to help young people to visually see what the possibilities could be for their goals and aspirations, and connecting to elders and country and community has just been what's uplifted me in my struggles, and to be able to support other young people. And so I asked a few different places locally in Wagga Wagga, and build technology here is just, you know, got laughed at really. And so I seen this accelerating program on Facebook, and I didn't really know what that meant, but I seen IBA there and just applied for it, and got to meet the amazing Stella online. I have an interview, and Ian from Investable. And when I went away to do that program, I had no idea what I was doing, but I left my family, my amazing partner that supported me incredibly over the years, and left them and went to Sydney and did that program. So Stella always just, when opportunities come to support, she's always there. Like, she's just a trooper. Like, yeah, so to be invited, it felt like, I don't know, a bit of a real privilege and an honour that IBA, included us into that, because many days you feel like isolated, you're alone, you don't know what you're doing. And so to be surrounded by so many amazing, so much mob there that just shared their own stories and go, actually, I'm not the only one that feels like this, and I'm not dumb and I'm not stupid. This is real business challenges.
Yeah.
Tell me then. Really long.
Yeah, tell me about your business, the name of the business, and how did you start your business? So you went through the IBA Accelerator program. So it was all about inventing an app. Yeah. And did you launch it?
I did. So we worked in the disability space over the development. So I left my job at Wagga City Council to really put time into just trying to get it right. So we self-funded the app the whole time. And we decided we were never going to be a non-for-profit or an Aboriginal organisation, not dismissing their models, but it just wasn't a good cultural match for us to create our own self-determination and our own wealth. And so, we, went out into community with kids that really needed it, and into the juvie centre, just to really get them to use the app, see if it works, get them a part of that community and the momentum of that. And so we launched vision. Never underestimate the power of a vision board. They can be really special. So I had Stan Grant Jr. on my vision board in our office, and that he was going to launch our app. And so, you know, Stan Grant's a very busy man. And, you know, some of them will be like, yeah, you know, you're dreaming. But I had him up there, like, where I could just see unconsciously every day that I want him to be there. So I didn't want to go through Uncle Stan because I, you know, didn't want to use the personal relationships. But I messaged him on LinkedIn and asked him if he would do it. And he said yes. And so he came to Wagga and launched the app, and I had my nearest and dearest. So lots of elders in the room and a lot of people that really supported us through the journey, as opposed to thinking of who's going to invest or partner with us. It was like a really special moment, and we live streamed it. So that was absolutely incredible.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. A big
Thank
congratulations for backing yourself, my sister, because that's one thing that we don't do enough if we don't back ourselves. And maybe it's because of, you know, we've got generations before us that didn't have the opportunities that we have today. So, you know, you can't be what you can't see. And for some of us, we've never seen successful Aboriginal people in business, or even to the point where you're launching an app. You know, playing in the technology space is another layer when you think about, I'm in business, got a consulting firm. To actually develop an app and then launch it, take it to the market, have the deadly brother Stan Grant, you know, come and put his support behind it, that speaks volumes as well. So tell me, how do you use the app? Just so our listeners and our viewers can understand the app.
Yeah, we really do it on the ground stuff. So there is still a little bit of work to do within the app, but it is downloading it. There's social, emotional, cultural, education and life skills. And what it is they select a heading, and then it's very much like a dating site where they can see images. All of the images are local to us. So connecting to elders, you know, them images are our elders here. And they can like click yes or no if that's something that they want as a part of their goals. And so to really just visually see that, and then they invite their dream team in, their trusted support networks, and the young people have complete control. So they can have in and out whoever they want at any time. And it's, and about just sharing them goals and letting people know what's important to them. We've just opened up on Monday with the elders here, the Wurundjeri Dreaming Youth Hub, which is really about dream making, helping young people set their goals and helping them with their dreams, as opposed to focusing on what are your deficits, what are your struggles, all of that. It's like, nah, that's out the window. It's all strength-based stuff. So just really being on that journey with community and using that and getting that right, so then we can share that with other communities on how we did it.
So the app today is a work in progress.
Yep.
What's the app called?
Yep. Oh, Visual Dreaming.
Visual Dreaming. So tell me about the support behind you, because I'm imagining that having a contact like Stella at IBA, has there been support provided through IBA that's, you know, helping you get to the next phase of the app, or are you doing it all on your own? Share with us if you can.
Yeah, I got to do some stuff with Carlo from TDI, who's absolutely amazing. And a lot of the learnings from him and the strategies has really helped me on my day-to-day business stuff. Things like the parking bay, you know, like, you know, as mob, we've got all these ideas on things that we want to do, and really learning about what's like, what we can do now and what's in the parking bay. So a lot of them strategies that I learnt from him are still stamped in my brain. But at the moment, it's been a lot of them learnings I still carry on, but it's been so busy setting up this youth hub, building our team. We've got amazing staff and elders in residence of an afternoon for young people to connect to. That the app stuff's kind of been just like there, sitting there, ready for when the young people come in to really get that back up and going again. So, yeah, I always know that anything I need, reach out to beautiful Stella and she'll always just give me the answers.
Yeah. So in terms of now moving forward, building this business, building this youth hub, how are you engaging with community? Like, do you get onto Facebook? How do these young people know that you exist? How do they find you? Because they might be listening or watching this episode, or somebody that may know somebody in your community may be listening or watching this episode. So how do people find you?
Yeah, so we do have social media. So we've got Wurundjeri Dreaming Facebook page and then the Visual Dreaming one. And we find that they're really good channels to send out what we're doing. We gently launched on Monday night, so we can just get, the foundations and all the processes and stuff set up. But we were really blessed on Monday night. We weren't sure what to expect with young people coming in, and we had about 15 to 20 kids coming in the door, and they just want connections to culture. So, yeah, we're just going to be setting regular programs so that we're in a routine, they're in a routine, and it's consistent. And, yeah, and just like share it. Social media is definitely the best way that we share our information and what we're doing, but also through schools, community meetings and that kind of stuff as well. And that Koori grapevine just spreads. Like, kids are coming in and they're not wanting to go home, but we've now got 3 young girls. One's in year 7, the 2 are in primary school. They came in last week, but they're our new junior management team. And they're like, just these kids they wrote their own job description.
Yeah.
Their availability, what they want to be paid, and they're coming in, running the show and talking to the young ones about what do they want in the program.
Isn't it deadly?
It just blows my mind.
Isn't it deadly that our young people can see the opportunity and can actually, voice it and communicate and not be shy or kind of like lack that self-esteem. So you got these young people that are confident to say, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it, or this is how I want to contribute to this organisation, and hopefully they go back and tell other kids in the community about this hub, and that's how it grows. And you start getting, 30 to 40 to now 100 young people accessing the program, the services, the hub, the support, the elders, engaging with the app. I know that there is such a need for our young people to connect to culture and to have strong role models, because without that, they're going to struggle in participating in the Western world, white-collar world. Annie Lilla, my grandmother's sister, my business partner at Black Card, always used to say that we need to arm our young people with cultural knowledge. Once they're armed with cultural knowledge, they can achieve anything that they set their minds to.
Yeah.
And they can walk in both worlds.
Yeah.
And that's so important to me as an Aboriginal woman and as a mother to 5 kids, is that they grow up strong in their cultural identity and connected to community, because without that connection, it can be such a lonely and isolating feeling navigating a society that was never set up for us to participate in.
Yeah.
That's where we start
Definitely.
second guessing ourselves on, are we smart enough?
Yeah.
Can we do this? Can we achieve that? For far too long, we've been told that we can't.
Yeah.
We're not good
Definitely.
enough. You're not smart enough. But you know what? We can actually do whatever we set our minds to, as long as we are grounded in our culture and we've got the support of our people, our elders and our community. We can fly, right? Not just thrive, we can fly. And our young people need to see people like you, my sister, that are leading the way. And I know that Auntie Mary, she said to me when she knew that we met, she said, you two need to connect with each other. Yous are two deadly strong black women, and the support that we could give each other, the networks that we both have that we could tap into. I now know what Auntie Mary's talking about, because I didn't really know what you did. I kind of met you for 10 minutes and then there was a whole lot of women there that I was yarning with and connecting with. So I'm so pleased that we've been able to at least have this yarn. But I just want to quickly say, sis, what's been some of the learnings? If you could share that with our listeners and viewers, what's some of your learnings that have kind of come out of either the IBA program and support, or just trying to get this hub or your business or even the app? You know, what's some of your learnings?
Yeah. I think protecting yourself and your intellectual property. So there was a bit of a delay with the app around being really open with what we were doing and sharing designs. You know, we get really passionate about what we do, that we can share with people that may not have the same intentions as you, and that can be taken from you very, very easily. And when that does with people that you trust, it really destroys you. And to build that back up, but always just protect yourself. Like, I think our cultural and intellectual property, we really don't protect ourselves enough. I'm always onto the elders about protecting them, but I never protected myself. So that was a bit of a journey and set me back a little bit. But now I know that everything happens for a reason from our ancestors, and now I know to protect myself a lot more with our intellectual property. The other thing is surround yourself around people that are going to believe in you and lift you. Like, I be on a high one day and the next day I go, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's impossible. But to have people like, the elders just wrap me with absolute love and say, you can do this, I believe in you. And sometimes we just don't believe in ourselves enough, but have them people around you, because we do sometimes feel like we're not good enough, and that we're not smart enough. And asking for things is really hard, because when you've started from nothing and you just do it, like our girls program, we have Butterfly Dreaming, our girls program, and me and Auntie Cheryl, Auntie Mary and Auntie Jackie, we did that without $1. We just did it because we were like, we wait for funding. It's a couple of hours out of our week, and we have a better appreciation because we weren't relying on government. And just that's just do things that definitely surround yourself around a dream team. We're big on dream teams. Yeah. Someone's got to put you down or be negative and say you can't do it. Just limit your time with that person, because that's not where you want to put your energy. Yeah.
Not productive having people that don't support you or lift you up or fill your cup. That's one thing that we say a lot, that we need to fill our cup, but sometimes it's not just enough to be full. It needs to be overflowing at sometimes in our life, because we give so much. And it's innate. It's embedded within our being as Aboriginal people. Being part of a group-based society and being part of the collective, like we give so much, and sometimes we need, like you said, we need to look after ourselves and put ourselves first. Yeah. If you could sum up some of the best things about being in business and the opportunities being in business has given you, what would some of those things be? Let's inspire some of our mob now to take that next step.
I'm going to get emotional. I think we as mob, especially women, we go into business because we want to create a better future for ourselves and our families and our community. And I think it's when you really see, it doesn't have to be 100 people that you make an impact on, but just to change one person or inspire one young person to look up to you and go, I can do this, is just makes everything worthwhile. Because we can change the future for our communities in business, because systems and structures don't work. But if we start to create our own and do that together, imagine what we could create. Like, we've got the oldest, beautifulest living culture in the world, and I just think it's our time.
Yeah,
it's our time. Yeah.
I have got goosebumps all over my body. Just thinking about... I get real
emotional with it. Like,
just thinking about, my mum being institutionalised, being a ward of the state, and her mother being institutionalised, and 5 generations on my mother's side alone being forcibly removed under government policy, and me and my sisters being the first generation that weren't taken by the system. We were privileged to grow up with our own Aboriginal mother and father. We were privileged to grow up with our sisters, with my sisters. Privileged to grow up in an Aboriginal community such as Redfern and be socialised amongst Aboriginal people. That, to me, is a privilege. Whereas in most Australians would just think that should be the norm, that you grow up with your parents and your siblings and in your family and community. Well, it was only one generation ago where that wasn't the norm. That kind of right to grow up with your family and community was not available to us as Aboriginal people because of the policies of the day. So this is our time. Yeah. This is our time, and we need to take every opportunity and grab it with both hands and not waste the opportunities that present. But at the same time, we can't sit around and wait for the opportunities to present. We've got to be actively, searching for the opportunities, or out there looking for opportunities as well. And the right opportunities will definitely come to us, because our ancestors, like you said, our old people have already kind of created the paths that we're about to walk. They know, what's ahead for us. And some of the times I second guess myself, and my husband is the best person to remind me. In 10 years of being in business myself and struggling for the first 2 years with being on Centrelink, being a CEO on Centrelink, having 2 kids, breastfeeding both, going to night school, trying to create a better future for myself and hopefully for my children, I spent days wondering how I was going to pay my rent. I spent days wondering how I was going to pay my kindy bill and worrying about the fact that there was only one income coming in, which was, the pension, the Centrelink. And my husband had to quit his job. So I really need, I really want people to know that it's not always easy. Hearing your story, sis, and I'm sure the struggles are real for you just as much as they were for me, but to finally get to a place where you can now start to breathe and you can start to see, we're reaping the rewards. You still need to do the hard work, and you still need to turn up and the sacrifices, the dedication, the commitment, you leaving your family to go to Sydney. This is the hard work that we need to kind of do. We need to do the hard work, and one day we'll be able to sit back and really appreciate, you know, where we've gotten to or what we've achieved. To kind of wrap up this yarn, what advice would you share with any listeners, black fellas, white fellas, young people? What advice would you give them if they were listening to this, you know, podcast or watching this podcast and thinking, you know, I would love to be in business. I would love to create a better future for myself and for my community. What's one piece of advice that you think would help them make the decisions that they need to make to take that next step?
I think just giving anything a go. I think about when I first had an idea and how much that's evolved and pivoted to create that bigger vision. But definitely just that sitting on time, like sitting on country, deeply just thinking about what do you care about and what are you passionate about. Like, as you know, you wouldn't keep getting out of bed if it wasn't something that you're passionate about. And so really just tuning into yourself and deeply thinking about what you're passionate about. And if it's something that's going to create a better world, you'll build your tribe. You'll build your dream team. And the best advice I've ever been given, which is from Annie Debbie Evans from Wilkenya, who's my rock, is at times I struggle. If you're feeling anxious, it means you're not trusting your ancestors. And so no matter what cultural heritage you come from, we all have ancestors that are walking with us every day. So just know that there's always a bigger purpose. I hope that's not rambling on, okay? But
no, these are the messages that we need to hear, and it's from people like us that, you know, hopefully will inspire the next generation to back themselves. So my sister, thank you so much. I want to give you the biggest hug, and I can't wait to see you again. But thank you for jumping on the podcast, sharing the work that you're doing, and please give my love to the beautiful elders in your community.
I will.
Thank you for jumping on, and look forward to seeing you. No worries. I'm going to wrap up.
Seeing you, Wagga.
Yes, I'm going to wrap up the yarn and basically just say you are an absolute legend, and those young people in your community are very lucky to have someone like you do the work that you do. So thank you, and don't stop. We need people like you. So, mwah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, my sister. Thank you.
If you'd like any more info on today's guest, please visit our show notes in the episode description. A big shout out to all you Deadly Mob and allies who continue to listen, watch and support our podcast. Your feedback means the world. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify, or even head to our socials and YouTube channel and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. The Black Magic Woman podcast is produced by Clint Curtis.
If you'd like to know more about IBA and how they can help you to own your own home, start or grow a business, or invest in your future, visit iba.gov.au or free call 1800 107 107.